Welcome back to the Bears Baseball Network. We've got a ton to talk about in today's show. I could not be more excited because today is our big prediction show. You know we love our predictions here on the Bears Baseball Network. Last year, me and Bernie did a ton of predictions. Got some right, got some wrong, but we're excited to get right back into it this year. We're going to get things started with our predictions for the summer awards. Both youth and high school work predict all these summer awards right now. Then I asked Bernie, I asked KJ, I asked myself to rank our top 100 predicted hitters this season. Rank them number 1 to 100. It is our predictions. So the last time I asked these guys to rank hitters, we did more so on resume and who deserves to be ranked where. This one was completely up to them, based on subjective, based on opinion, rank our top 100 hitters. So we're going to take a look at that. And then finally, we had some big storylines from last year. ZZ Garcia started on the bottom team, became a superstar by the end of the year. Elijah Underwood came out of nowhere. Rocky Tucker emerged throughout the season as an ace. We're going to look at who's going to be the biggest storylines this season. That'll be at the end of the show. But let's get things started with our award predictions. This is for the summer season. And Bernie, we're going to get things started with Rookie of the Year. One thing about Rookie of the Year, you cannot win the Rookie of the Year award twice. So Nifric Abarkis won it in the fall. He is ineligible to win it here in the summer, which means it opens up to a lot of different rookies. Bernie, we're going to start with you. Who is your pick to win the Rookie of the Year award?
Yeah, my Rookie of the Year, probably the favorite here, and he was our number one prospect. It would be Braden King, squarely based on his arm. I feel like he's going to go out there, he's going to absolutely shove this year. Throws hard, has the best slider in the Bears. Not much more to say about Braden.
Yeah, great pick. I think he's probably the favorite going into the year. I'm going to go ahead in a different direction. If you watch our prediction shows last year, you know Bernie always loves to take the favorite. He wants to take the guy who has the highest percentage of hitting. I like to go a different way. I like to go with maybe the third or fourth favorite and kind of prove everybody wrong. I'm going to go with Cale Taylor. This is a guy who's going to play a huge role on that 11U Burnsville squad. And one of the things you got to do to win Rookie of the Year is be a big contributor on a top team. And I think Cale's definitely going to be that. I could see this guy leading this team in RBIs, especially if Harrison's hitting more in the 2-hole and Cale maybe hitting in the 3 or 4-hole. I think he could definitely get a ton of RBIs in that lineup. I think he's going to be a big doubles machine, and I could definitely see him running away with that Rookie of the Year award, especially if it goes to the best rookie hitter. Obviously Braden King's arm is going to keep him in contention, but if it's best rookie hitter, I think Cale Taylor could definitely be it. KJ, give me your pick for the Rookie of the Year for the summer.
I'm also going to go to Braden King. Bernie kind of talked about what he does on the mound. He's lights out, but I think he's going to contribute with the bat as well. He's got the metrics to do it. We see it all the time. When players have the metrics, they usually perform on the field, and so I'm expecting big things from Braden, not just on the mound, but at the plate.
Yeah, 100%. Braden King, I definitely think, is the favorite. Let's go ahead and go to our dark horse for Rookie of the Year. Dark horse is the title. Maybe he's completely not one of the favorites. We kind of made a list of the favorites. We have 6 guys written down as the favorites to win Rookie of the Year. This guy's got to not be in those top 6. So going on the dark horse, KJ, going to start with you. Give me your dark horse to win the Rookie of the Year award for the summer.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Trevor Anderson. This is a guy who's not going to start on the top team, but I think a guy who is, by the end of the season, we're going to look at in contention for the top team, and he's going to get talked about a lot after, he could win Rookie of the Year. What he does on the mound, he throws really, really hard. He's going to be one of the top hitters on whatever team he's on, and, he definitely has a lot of upside with the bat as well. So, not to mention he'll play a little bit of infield for them as well. So, Trevor's going to play a big role for what team he's on, and I expect big things out of him.
Yeah, Trevor's definitely a great pick. When Trevor Anderson came to the Bears, he also came with a friend. And that friend was Maxim Borodko, who's going to be my pick for Dark Horse Rookie of the Year. I think these two guys definitely, obviously they came to the Bears together, and I think a lot of expectations on Trevor that Maxim's kind of getting overlooked a little bit. I think this guy is going to hit for power, especially playing a middle infield position. Power in the middle infield, sometimes can be hard to find. I think he's going to be a good defender, and I definitely think he's going to surprise some people with how well he's going to hit. Bernie, give me your dark horse pick for the Rookie of the Year award.
Yeah, I will also be going to Trevor Anderson from the 13 squad. If this guy's on Kryler, he's the ace of the squad. Even if he's on Bell, he's still one of the top pitchers on that squad. He throws really hard. I've watched him a lot in precision pitching over the past couple weeks, and he just got a lot better in so few weeks. I think over the course of the season, he could turn into a potential ace. Maybe even see eventually making that Floyd roster. So yeah, I think Trevor Anderson's gonna have a good run at it this year.
Moving on to our Platinum Glove Award, we have a Youth Platinum Glove and a High School Platinum Glove. This goes to the best defensive player in the Bears. This is for the summer season. Let's go ahead and start with the Youth Platinum Glove. Bernie, go ahead and start with you on this one. Obviously, you're looking at the shortstops. The center fielders are usually going to be the favorites, but also some good catchers, some good first basemen, a lot of different guys for this award. Bernie, go ahead and give me your pick for the Youth Platinum Glove Award.
Yeah, my Youth Platinum Glove Award winner, I think this guy is hands down the best shortstop, best infielder in the Bears. I don't think it's like that close, really. It's going to be Landon Meyer. This guy's going to field everything right at him, and especially toward the end of last season, he started going to get some balls that not many other people make. So, I mean, he's got everything.
Yeah, Bernie, once again, going for the favorite. This is the guy who won it in the fall, and I think he might have won it in the summer as well. I'm going to go with a guy who's definitely not one of the favorites. In fact, I didn't even write him on the favorites list, but I'm this confident about this guy being a superstar fielder. It is ZZ Garcia. This is a guy who's just extremely athletic. Obviously, the work ethic has never been a question, and we've seen his bat go from being middling to being superstar. We've seen his pitching arm go from being pretty bad to pretty good. And his defense was probably the strongest part of his game when he joined the Bears. So it's only natural that with his work ethic, his defense is going to go from good to superstardom. And I think we're starting to see the transition this winter. He's made some unbelievable plays in practice. And I think it's going to translate into the game because he's got kind of the opposite fielding styles Landon Meyer, where Landon was a guy who early on fielded every ball right to him, but didn't really make the superstar plays. ZZ is a guy who makes the superstar plays, but misses some balls right at him. I think those are going to go away with experience, and I think he could be a stud fielder, could potentially win this Platinum Glove. KJ, give me your pick for the Platinum Glove Youth Award.
I'm also going to go to a shortstop. I'm going to go with Jack Dalton. There's a reason why this guy's always talked about. It's because he's a great pitcher, he's a great hitter, and he's a very, very good defender. He's a guy who we don't necessarily talk about his defense, and we kind of overlook it because he hits and pitches so good, and he hasn't really gotten a chance to play there much with playing on Dalton. But now that he's playing his age, I think he's going to have a big-time season all around, and I think he's going to contribute defensively and win that Platinum Glove.
All right, moving on to our dark horse pick for the Youth Platinum Glove. KJ, going to start with you on this one. Give me your dark horse pick. Again, anybody who's not a favorite to win this Platinum Glove.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Avery McNichols. He's another guy who is now playing his age. He'll be in that infield mix on the 12U Floyd team. So if you watch this guy in practice, he doesn't miss much. He's a guy who's worked really, really hard this offseason. You see him here all the time at Bud Dome. His bat's coming along, but his glove is very, very smooth, and I think he's going to play a big role with him and ZZ in that middle infield. I think that's going to be really, really nothing really is going to get by those two.
I'm going to go with a guy who's not a middle infielder like we've picked so far. I'm going to go with Jacob Mon. This guy, I think, is arguably one of the best infielders, best first baseman in the entire Bears organization. The way he picks the ball is really, really impressive, and a guy who can make the plays around the bag. I used to always say when KJ Floyd was playing for the Bears that the biggest separator between KJ and every other first baseman was the way they played the bag on those tough throws, doing the splits on throws across the diamond, being able to reach up the bag, being able to switch your feet based on where the throw is. I think those are the fundamentals that Jacob Mon has that a lot of other first basemen don't necessarily have. And I think he could be a very impactful player there for the Youth Platinum Glove Award. Bernie, give me your pick for the Dark Horse Platinum Glove Award for Youth.
Yeah, my dark horse pick, I'm going to go to the outfield for 13U. And it'll be Aaron Knoll. I would kind of compare this guy to the way you talked about ZZ. Last year in the outfield, he would misread some balls right at him. But with his speed, his athleticism, there are some balls that he gets to that just no one else can get to. And I think we're going to see a lot more out of him this year of that. He's going to be a center fielder for that squad. He's going to take it over, and he's going to go catch everything out there.
Moving into our High School Platinum Glove Award. Let's go one sentence on these guys. We got a lot to cover in today's show, so let's go ahead and get through them a little bit quicker. The High School Platinum Glove Award, again, the best defender at the high school age. Bernie, going to start with you. Give me your pick for the High School Platinum Glove Award.
Yeah, real short. Best outfielder in the Bears, I will go with Mac Floyd.
Yeah, absolutely. He's won it in the summer. He won it in the fall. Definitely a favorite to win it. I'm going to go with a guy who I think I've picked for this award a couple different times, back when he was youth, back when he was high school. It is Ty Zazaweta. In my opinion, the best defensive catcher in the Bears, so I definitely think he's got a great chance to win this award. KJ, give me your pick for the High School Platinum Glove Award.
When you take into account, man, arm strength, range, speed, it all comes back down to the obvious answer. I think it's Mac Floyd.
Yeah, 100%. KJ, going to stick with you here. Give me your dark horse pick for the High School Platinum Glove.
I'm going to stay away from the traditional answers. I'm going to go to a catcher and Andrew Bober. Catching is kind of, you kind of don't realize how good or how important a catcher is till you have a bad one. So he's a really, really good one, and they really appreciate him up there, and I think he's going to get some love in this Platinum Glove talk.
I'm going to go with a guy from my dark horse who's known as a pitcher, but I'm going to go with Evan Osborne. You know, you talk about Mac and the kind of things you don't talk about with his arm strength and his range. I think Evan Osborne has both of those things, and I think if he's the center field on this team, he's going to impress a lot of people. Bernie, give me your dark horse pick for the high school platinum glove.
Yeah, my high school pick, my dark horse is going to be Alex Hobson. Not a guy really known for his fielding, I don't think, but, last fall he came in. Last fall he had a really good fielding season. He was top 3 or 4 in the voting for Platinum Glove, so I think he's continued to get better all offseason, and he's going to come out, he's going to make some noise in this competition.
Moving into the Cy Young Award, this goes to the best pitcher. We have a Youth Cy Young Award and a High School Cy Young Award. This is for the summer season. And I'll go ahead and start this one with you, Bernie. Give me your pick for the Youth Cy Young Award for the summer season.
My Youth Cy Young is going to come from the 14U Floyd, the ace of the squad, Jack Dalton. We talked about Jack a lot, man. He's a great hitter, great fielder, but he's also a very good pitcher. He recently, I know, hit 78 off the mound, I believe. Has good off-speed stuff. Goes up there, he's going to pound the zone. He's going to be really tough for hitters to hit this season.
Yeah, probably that 14U Floyd Sunday ace to start the year. I'm going to go with another pitcher on that 14U Floyd staff in Braden King. Probably the breakout player of the BWL in terms of what he was able to do on the mound. I think Braden King's going to have a massive season, and I liken him to sort of like what Elijah Underwood did last year where he broke out in the fall. I think Braden King's going to break out here in the spring. KJ, give me your pick for the Youth Cy Young Award.
Yeah, if you're at home betting with your friends, do not overthink it. Lucas Velchek is going to strike everybody out this year. No one can touch him at that age. He's way bigger. He throws harder. He's got the nastiest breaking stuff. He throws strikes. Don't overthink this one. It's going to be Lucas Velchek winning that Cy Young.
Yeah, that's obviously a great pick there. Moving into our dark horse for the Youth Cy Young. KJ, I'll start this one with you. Give me your dark horse pick for the Youth Cy Young.
Yeah, I'm going to go to kind of a new pitcher, ZZ Garcia. He's going to see considerable innings on that 12U Floyd team now. He throws hard. He's got a good breaking ball. He's going to have a good year pitching.
Yeah, KJ, you went with a guy who's known for his bat, big hitter who's figuring out how to pitch. I'm going to go the same route. I'm going to go with Ben Combs, a guy who really, really has impressed me this winter with how hard he's worked. I think he's going to throw strikes, and he's developing some off-speed stuff that is really going to fool hitters. I think he could have a much better season than people are expecting. Bernie, give me your dark horse Cy Young pick for the youth.
Yeah, my dark horse from the 13 Floyd team is going to be Jacob Mon. For me, at least, it's not really a question of how good Jacob Mon is. It's a question of how many innings he's going to get as a starter, at least. And it's a very tough rotation to break into. But I think once Jacob Mon goes out there and shoves at the start of the season, he'll find himself in the rotation, and then he could be well on his way to be in that conversation.
Moving into the High School Cy Young Award. Bernie, I'm going to start with you here. Give me your pick for the High School Cy Young for the summer season.
Yeah, this kid was on the put himself on the radar last fall to be Elijah Underwood. I mean, this guy throws 83, 84 off the mound, has nasty off-speed stuff. He's going to go up there. He's going to throw a lot of strikes. I mean, if he's locked in, no one can hit this guy.
Yeah, 100%, Bernie. I agree. I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. I would say right now, and I could be wrong, but if you asked most people the 3 favorites to win Cy Young, I feel like the answer is, Bernie, you can tell me if you agree. I feel like if you ask the 3 favorites, it's Elijah Underwood, Evan Osborne, Mac Floyd. Do you agree with that?
I don't know, man. Elliott's a household name.
Well, I feel like that's kind of the public perception right now is those 3. So I'm going to go Elliott Myers, who I think is being slept on a little bit. Elliott, listen. People are acting like he's not one of the best 3 pitchers in the Bears. I think that he's still arguably the best pitcher in the Bears. I think he's going to prove a lot of people that are all over the Mac train, all over the Elijah train, all over the Evan Osborne train that, hey, Elliott's still here, and I think he's going to have an amazing season on the mound. KJ, give me your pick for the High School Cy Young Award.
When you throw harder than everyone else, when you have a great defense with Evan Osborne out there, Teagan out there, Ty Zazueta behind the plate, and you're almost a better pitcher than everyone else as a hitter, Elijah Underwood's going to dominate. Don't overthink this one. He's your High School Cy Young.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Moving into our dark horse for the High School Cy Young. KJ, give me your dark horse pick.
Yeah, this is a guy who I'm sure no one thought. If a year ago you were to say this, everyone would call you crazy. But this guy, at the end of the year, he had a couple nice starts. In the BWL, he pitched really good. When this guy throws strikes, if he does throw strikes, he could be a big-time pitcher. I'm going Andrew Smith.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go with a guy kind of the same story as Elliott, a guy who at one point was seen as a big ace, and now people are kind of forget about him with the rest of the pitchers on that staff. I'm going to go Santiago Story. People forget that this guy is still here. No, he's not as flashy as Evan or Elijah or even Teagan, but his slider's gross, his changeup's gross, and he can still get hitters out. He showed it in the BWL, and he's going to show it this year in the season. Bernie, give me your dark horse pick for the Cy Young Award.
My dark horse pick has come from my 6U squad. That'll be Rocky Tucker Jr., another guy who put himself on the radar last fall. He's going to have a chance to be the ace of this team. I think he's going to go out there and he proves he is the ace of this team, and he's going to have a very good summer.
Yeah, Rocky Tucker, arguably the Cy Young of the fall season. He was right in that race. Moving into our MVP conversation, we have a Youth MVP award and a High School MVP award for the summer season. Let's go ahead and get it started with the Youth MVP award. Bernie, going to throw this one to you. Hey, give me your Youth MVP.
Yeah, I think this guy's just the best hitter in the Bears, age appropriate at least, and that would be Harrison Blabaum from my 11U squad. He hits the ball harder than everybody else. He hits it farther than everybody else. He's going to hit a lot of home runs. And, I think he's the best hitter here.
Yeah, arguably going to lead the Bears in home runs. I think he's probably the favorite for that and going to be a beast this season. I'm going to go once again a little bit of a different route. This guy's probably not the favorite, but a guy I think is going to have a massive year, and that is Jack Dalton. This guy, look, I think when he was on that 15U Dalton squad, I think he was completely overlooked. I think he was one of the most underrated players in the Bears. Now he's playing 14U, his rightful age, and I think he's going to show everybody that he is the best player in the Bears. Give me Jack Dalton to win the Summer MVP award. KJ, give me your pick for the MVP.
If you're asking me to attach my name to someone to win the MVP, I want someone who's bigger than everyone, who hits the bar farther than everyone, and who hits the ball harder than everyone. Harrison Blabaum is going to be your Youth MVP.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of the same answers, huh? You guys just ganging up on me the whole show. All right, moving into our Dark Horse Youth MVP. KJ, going to start with you here. Give me your Dark Horse for the Youth MVP.
This is going to Logan Meyer. He's taken big strides this offseason. His whole life, everyone said it's all about Landon. This is year, 2023 is the year of Logan Meyer. He's going to hit some bombs. He is going to be your Youth MVP Dark Horse.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Moving on to myself, I'm going to go ahead and go with a guy that, once again, people are sleeping on a little bit, and that is Brendan Bass. Obviously the big storyline with him is that he's moving from 12U, moving up in age to play 13U, which is his grade, and I think people are sleeping on a little bit. I think this guy's an MVP caliber player. Even though he's moving up one age, even if there is a little bit of an adjustment period, I still think this guy is MVP caliber, and for him to not even be on the favorites list, I think is a little insulting to how good this guy is. Give me Brendan Bass as my dark horse. Moving in, Bernie, give me your dark horse pick for the MVP award.
Yeah, my dark horse player. I also think this guy's a little slept on just because he's on the same team as Willerette, Dalton, and Landon Nickerson. That'd be Benny Combs. I think this guy's going to hit, whether he hits 3, 4, 5 this order, he's going to have a ton of opportunities to get RBIs. He's going to hit some home runs this year. And I think there is a chance that he comes out as maybe the best hitter of these 4 and could make a run at that award.
Yeah, I think Ben Combs is definitely the best player that's not on the favorites list, and it is because of the teammates he plays on. Bernie, I think that's a great pick. Moving into finally our high school MVP award. Go ahead and get this thing started. Bernie, give me your high school MVP.
Yeah, I'll keep it pretty simple. Best defender, top 3 or 4 pitcher of the age, and I think the best hitter at the age. Contact, power, everything that goes along with it. That'd be Mac Floyd from 18U.
Yeah, great pick. He was arguably in the MVP conversation all fall long, and he was the MVP of the 18U BWL season. I'm going to go with the guy who, honestly, once again, feel like is a little slept on right now. I think people are kind of forgetting how good this guy is, and that is Jack Roberts. He was the April MVP last year. He was one of the top hitters in the summer, and he was one of the top hitters in the fall. I think this guy's going to have another monster season and put his name right up in that MVP conversation. Give me Jack Roberts. KJ, finally, end us off here with our award picks. Give me your MVP for the high school season.
Yeah, just close your eyes and think about who's a great pitcher and a great hitter. First guy comes to mind, Shohei Ohtani. Second guy comes to mind, Mac Floyd. He's winning your high school MVP.
All right, so those are all our award predictions. A ton of different guys there. Obviously, I think, KJ and Bernie are going to sink or swing. Our dark horses. That's right, Bernie. Good call. One more thing. We have our dark horse MVP award. Go ahead, Bernie, or actually, KJ, you got the mic. Go ahead and give me your dark horse MVP.
If you watch BWL, this guy mashed when he played with 14-15U. He got signed to a 16-18U team in BWL, and he mashed there. Ty Zazueta is going to be a dark horse to win MVP this year at the high school level.
I'm going to go with another guy who absolutely mashed in the BWL, had arguably the biggest swing in the BWL. That's Oliver Saxon. I think this guy showed everybody he can compete at the highest level. He was facing a bunch of top 18U arms, and when Ollie goes and plays against these 16U guys, I think he's going to absolutely dominate. Give me Oliver Saxon. Bernie, give me your dark horse pick.
Yeah, my dark horse pick, also from 16, will be Alex Hobson. I think this guy has been the best hitter on the team for a little bit now. I think it continues to end this year. He's going to have the opportunities. He's going to bat, 1, 2, or 3 in that order, and I think he's just going to continue to be the best hitter on that squad.
All right, that's going to do it for our award picks. I think Bernie and KJ, a lot of you guys are going to be swimming or succeeding together. So we'll see if that ends up working out for you. I went kind of the other direction. But let's move into our top 100 hitter prediction. I had both KJ and Bernie give me their predicted list for the top 100 hitters. Again, completely subjective. I didn't give them any criteria. It was completely up to them. The metric we're using from last year is OPS plus. And if you follow MLB, OPS plus, the way it works is 100 is average. If you're above 100, obviously above average, below 100 is below average. Our OPS plus is weighted by your age. So a guy who's 50% better at 11U than his teammates is going to get a plus 150. 18U, obviously, you're going to have a lower OPS, but if you're 50% better than your teammates, you're also going to get a plus 150. So we ranked our top 100 OPS pluses from last year and then obviously compared it to how our predicted rankings were this year. And I want to start with two guys who were not in the top 100 last year. One of them because he was not on the Bears yet, and one of them was just outside the top 100, and us as a cumulative all had him inside the top 50, these two players. So let's go ahead and start with Ben Nichols. Again, a guy who joined the Bears this winter, has not played a game yet with the Bears, and the three of us have him inside our top 50. Bernie, give me your thoughts on Ben Nichols and why you think he could be a top 50 hitter in the Bears this year.
Yeah, I talked about him on the prospect show, I think he was ranked as our fifth prospect. I think he could be even higher than that. I mean, this guy, he's not going to strike out very often. He hits for power. He's going to play good defense. He's a good pitcher. He's good everything. So I think going into the season, I think we actually all have him ranked the top 40. I could argue he's even higher than that. So I think Ben Nichols, he's going to be right in the heart of the order. I think he's going to have a monster season.
Yeah, definitely the opportunity is there. KJ, the other guy that all three of us had, again, last year he ranked 77th in OPS plus. This year we had him, actually our cumulative ranking was number 26. So this guy's going from 77 to 26. KJ, give me your thoughts on why Aaron Noel is going to get such a big jump this year.
Yeah, this guy can absolutely rake. He has the metrics. He hit well in BWL. If this guy keeps his head down, he can hit for massive, massive power numbers, and he's going to be hitting the lineup with a lot of great players around him. You're going to see a big year from Aaron Noel, and he definitely got his name on the map, and I think he's even going to increase come next year.
Yeah, another huge riser was Alex Ruppel, a guy who was number 74 in OPS Plus last year. We all ranked him inside our top 53. And this is a guy he was a cumulative ranking of number 53. This is a guy who really showed out in the BWL. He was drafted as a pitcher and really hit his way into some relevancy. And I think this guy's going to have a very nice season and is due for a big little jump in his production. Let's kind of head and shift our attention to the top of this list. We had a little bit of a different order for our top 9, but the top 9, the guys in it are all the same. And I want to kind of read you this list. This is our cumulative ranking of the top 9 hitters in the Bears. Harrison Blabaum, Landon Nickerson, Andrew Willeret, Mac Floyd, Parker Ells, Jack Dalton, Tegan Kryler, Brendan Nickerson, and Landon Meyer. All of us agreed this is the top 11 or top 9 hitters in the Bears. KJ, when you look at these top 9, man, kind of the superstars, the MVP favorites, give me a guy or two in this list that you kind of want to touch on here.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore what Landon Nickerson, does day in and day out. He matches. We see his huge numbers in free swing. He went in the BWL, not only matched for 14, 15U, but he went up and matched for 16 to 18U. He's going to be in the heart of that 13U Floyd lineup, or the 14U Floyd lineup. He's going to absolutely match this year, and I think, he could be in talks to be, some people might have him number 1 at home, but he could be in talks to be number 1.
Yeah, personally on my rankings, I had him as number 1. I think he definitely can make that argument. Bernie, a guy last year who obviously was kind of the story of the season. If we went through and kind of how many name drops we had of this player in BBN, this guy was probably leading in BBN name drops. That is ZZ Garcia. He was the breakout star of last year. He ended up being number 21 last year in OPS Plus. This year, we cumulative had him ranked number 10. Bernie, give me your thoughts on ZZ, who's already made tons of big jumps. How can he get from number 21 last year to number 10 this year?
Yeah, with how hard this kid works, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't expect to see another jump. I think with basketball up to 13, I think ZZ has the opportunity to become the guy on this team, the best hitter here. And I think he makes that jump, and he's a top 10 hitter in the Bears. Yeah,
100%. I think we're all super high on him. Moving into kind of our individual list, so far we've been talking about our combined list. This is our individual list. A player that, Bernie, you're higher on than kind of the consensus is Rowan Damschroeder. He's a guy who came in at number 71 on our cumulative list. You have him up at number 57. Give me your thoughts on Rowan and why you think he's going to really outperform his projections this year.
Yeah, another guy that, he's gotten a lot better in a very quick amount of time, just from last fall to now. He hits the ball hard and frequently. He's up in like the 72, I think. I believe that's the third or fourth hardest at our age group. And, when I look at this 11U squad, someone's got to come up big in that bottom of the order, like from the 6 through 10 range. I think Rowan's going to be that guy that comes up big and, helps that 11U squad helps that 11U squad a lot.
A guy that I had ranked higher than kind of the room is Aiden Wardell, a guy who came in number 7 in our cumulative ranking and was number 58 for me. I think this guy is kind of being slept on. He's one of those guys that hits for more power than his size. He's got good plate discipline, but he's still aggressive at the same time. And I think there's opportunity on this Burnsville squad for him to get a ton of at-bats and really do some damage for that team. And then for you, KJ, a guy that you had ranked higher than everybody else was Wes Brody, a guy who came in cumulative at number 81. You have him at number 70. Give me your thoughts on Wes Brody and how you think he's going to overperform his projections.
Yeah, I think some people are underplaying Wes Brody's offense. He's a guy who we've kind of been working with his swing a little bit, and he's getting the ball in the air more. He's hitting for power. I mean, he's hitting balls, 320 to 340. This guy, whatever role he plays in this year, whether it's in that bottom of the lineup role, he's gonna be a very, very dangerous player.
Yeah, 100%. I like Wes a lot. I thought when I ranked him pretty highly, and then you went even over the top as me. So I think he could definitely have a really good year and make you look right on that one. We are not done talking about that top 100. We'll save it for another show, though, because I want to get into the storylines from last year and who's going to be the blank of this year. And go ahead and let's get started with Jack Roberts. The story of him last year, he was a guy that on the BBN we really liked, but nobody else really knew about him, and nobody else really thought he was going to be this big player. He was a guy who nobody saw coming and then was a monster in April and immediately put his name on the map. KJ, who's going to be the Jack Roberts of this year who maybe not everybody sees coming, and he's going to have a monster April to really put his name up there?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Evan Little. Once the season gets going, these pitchers, I don't think they're going to really pitch to, Jack Dalton and Landon Nickerson. They're going to try to, they're going to make a mistake and try to go after Evan Little, and he's going to make them pay. He's going to drive in a ton of runs. He's going to hit a bunch of home runs. He hits the ball very, very hard, and I could see a really big season coming from Evan.
Yeah, I'm going to go with another guy that nobody really sees coming, and that is Mason Gebhart. I could see this guy coming out and hitting a home run the first weekend, and everybody's like, oh, man, this guy could be a big player. I could see this guy hitting 4 home runs in the month of April and really putting his name on the map. I think he's a guy with sky's the limit. He has the highest exit velocity of any 13U player, and I think this guy could be just an absolute superstar. He's got that kind of potential. If he gets off to a hot start, I think people are going to start paying attention to Mason Gebhart. Bernie, who is the Jack Roberts of this year for you?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go to a guy I've talked about a lot, especially in the past year or so, and that'd be Aaron Knoll. I think last April, he had a big April last season, but he was a bench player. He kind of just turned some heads a little bit, and he tapered off a little bit kind of in the middle of the season. But I think this year, I've heard that there might be a center field competition. To me, Aaron Knoll's going to come out on fire. He's going to be a superstar all season long. That's his job, and he will become one of the best players in that 13U team.
Moving on, another big storyline along the course of the season, especially for me, was Jacob Mon. He was a player who began the year on the top team bench. He was a sleeper for me before the season, and over the course of the first couple months, he was a bench player, getting one at bat a game, getting his stuff in, and then when a starting spot became open, he jumped on it and became an absolute stud toward the end. He went from the bench player at the beginning of the year to the 2-hitter at the end of the year. So this is a player who will begin the year on the bench, but by the end of the year is going to be a top team starter. Bernie, who is the Jacob Mon of this year?
For me, I'll go to the 12U squad. I'll pick up Paxton LaPlante. I think this guy, he sat on the bench last fall. He got his limited at-bats. He did very well in them. And I think this season, there's a lot of different chances for him. He's a good infielder. He can catch. He's a good pitcher. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him to get in the lineup. And then once he hits, I don't think he's going to leave the lineup very often.
Yeah, it's a great pick. I'm going to go with the guy we just talked about in Weston Brody. He's a guy who I think is going to get on the top team for his defense, and then he's going to start on the top team for his bat. It's hard to not love the glove. It's hard to not love the athleticism. But when Rob Floyd, the coach of 14 Floyd, gets to see him take regular at-bats and really start to succeed, I could see him be getting into the starting lineup very quickly. KJ, give me your pick for the Jacob Mon of this season.
Yeah, I'm going to go to a guy, Luke Driscoll. I think that, to make that team, there's a bunch of guys who can hit. Luke needs to stand out in some way, and I think, he can catch, he can play a little bit of outfield, but, I think he's almost going to be a huge hitter. I think his offense is going to take him to that next level, and he's going to play a big role, and I could definitely see him starting on that top team come the end of the season.
This next guy was Rocky Tucker, a guy who I predicted to be the dark horse Cy Young of the summer season. Didn't really pan out that way. He had a little bit of a rough summer, but over the course of the year, he just got better and better and better until he had a sub-2 ERA in the month of September and was in the Cy Young conversation. Bernie, or actually we'll go with KJ here. Who's a pitcher who's going to emerge into an ace as the years goes on?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it in my dark horse Cy Young, but I'm going to go back to ZZ Garcia. He's got a really good fastball that moves, and he throws it hard, and then he's got a really good breaking stuff. So he's going to be a big-time pitcher, and I think by the end of the year, it's going to be tough to kind of put him in those big games because he's also the shortstop, right? But I think he could definitely pitch in some bigger games at the end of the year, and he's going to force me to if he comes out and really pitches well.
Yeah, my pick is going to be a guy who I see a lot of similarities with Rocky Tucker. Obviously, I work with both of them in precision pitching. Rocky Tucker was a guy with all the stuff in the world. The question was going to be the mental battle and the control battle with Rocky, whether he was an ace or not. In the summer, he kind of lost those two battles, and then in the fall, he took control of those two battles. I could see Parker Ells being a very similar story. Parker's got unbelievable stuff, but for him, being able to walk a guy and then come back and strike out the next guy has been a battle for Parker. Sometimes he's either striking out the side or he's walking the first batter and then you got to take him out because he's not going to be able to turn it around. I think if Parker can really reel in that mental battle and consistently throw strikes, and if he's not throwing strikes, be able to find it, that's going to be the difference between him being just a solid pitcher versus him being an ace caliber guy because the stuff is definitely there. Bernie, give me your pick for the Rocky Tucker of this season.
Yeah, my Rocky Tucker of the season. I'm going to my Levy squad. I'm going to pick up Ben Nichols. We've talked about this guy a little bit. When he came in, his talent level was already very high, and this kid's worked very hard in precision pitching. He's already gone from like 50 to 56, something like that, in just a month or two. And I think on a Levy squad that has a bunch of good arms, but not really that ace yet. I think as the season progresses, as Benny continues to get better, especially if he gets better at the rate he has been, he could be the ace of the squad going into the fall.
Yeah, definitely a hard worker, and those guys tend to get better very, very quickly. I could see him definitely filling that shoe. Moving into the guy who was probably the talk of the season last year, ZZ Garcia. He was a guy who began the year on the bench. He wasn't even on the top team, and then by the end of the year, he was the leadoff hitter. He was one of the best hitters on the team. Maybe ZZ was completely a unicorn. Maybe we're not going to see a ZZ Garcia this year, but if we do, Bernie, who's the ZZ Garcia of this season?
Yeah, I'll stick at that same age. I'll go with Big Bat and Garrett Knight. The guy that's going to start on that burn squad. He's going to bat right in the heart of the order. I know his exit velocity is in the top, 3 or 4 at the age. So, if this guy hits with the power I know he can hit with on that burn squad, he's going to find himself on Floyd. And if he continues to hit, he's going to find himself right in the heart of the order of the Floyd lineup.
I'm going to go with a little bit of a technicality here because Mason Geddes is not on the second team because of his talent. He's on the second team because he does not want to sit the bench. He wants the playing time, and the thing about those guys is if there's an injury, if somebody leaves, if there's a playing time spot that opens up, Mason Geddes could jump in and snatch it and just instantly become a star. He's had the best winter of his Bear career this winter. He's really dove into the extra programs. He hasn't missed anything in terms of practices or workouts. He's just dove into everything, and he's going to start the season on the Bell squad, not because he's not good enough to be on the top team, but because he wants to play. And if that spot opens up, let's just say, heaven forbid, Landon Meyer gets hurt, Mason Geddes is a shortstop. So if a playing time spot opens up for him, he could definitely become one of the stars of the Bears. KJ, finally, give me your ZZ Garcia for this season.
Yeah, I'm going to go to one of my favorite guys. I'm going to go to Braden Miller. If you've seen this guy, he rakes. This guy's going to hit a bunch of home runs, I think, for that Bell squad to start the year. And, if he's a guy who comes out and hits 10 home runs, how do you not move this guy to the top team? I think he's going to find himself getting some playing time on that top team, and he could be a big star on that team. I think he's going to put up huge power numbers this year.
Finally, our last storyline is Harrison Bleibom. He was a guy who, in February, everybody knew he was a good player. He was probably the best player at the time. It was the Youth Prep 10U Floyd team. He was the best player, but, he's just a good player. By the end of the year, he was arguably the best player in the Bears. So, Bernie, or actually we'll start with KJ again. KJ, give me a guy who's a good player right now, but by the end of the season, he's going to be known as one of the best in the Bears, a top 5, top 10 type hitter. Who is the Harrison Bleibom of this year?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Logan Meyer. I think Logan has a really good chance to, be up there in the top 1 or 2 in home runs on that team, and maybe top 2 in home runs in the Bears. I think there's a couple guys, Landon Nickerson, Parker Ells are going to hit a bunch, and then up there in that conversation, I think is going to be Logan Meyer. He's taken huge strides this offseason. His bat is up there with the best, so I think we're going to be talking about Logan Meyer a lot after this big season he's going to have.
I'm going to go with a guy with a lot of the same similarities as you were talking about, KJ, and Ben Combs. He's a guy who, when he joined the Bears, huge promise, and got off to a little bit of a slow start, but he's been better and better and better. Every single month, he keeps getting better. And then in BWL, it's just like every single bat, you saw him mature a little bit more and a little bit more until by the end of the winter, he was the best hitter on the throwbacks in BWL, and he was taking the most mature bats, even with the 15 you guys on the team. I think Ben is a guy who, again, is being slept on because of his teammates. You know, it's hard to look at Ben Combs and say he's going to be the best player of Willeret, Jack Dalton, and Landon Nickerson, but I think by the end of the year, even if he's not better than those three, he could still be a top 5 hitter in the Bears, and I believe in Benny Combs. Bernie, finally, the last little nugget here of the show. Give me your Harrison Blaibom for this year.
Yeah, my Harrison Blaibom. I'm not gonna say I was against this guy last year, but I definitely I was a little, I don't know. I didn't think he'd get as much better as he did in that short amount of time, and that would be Jacob Mon. I underestimated this guy last year. He went from the bench. He was turned into a starter. At the end of the season, he got got put in some big spots. So I think his bat's going to play. I think he's a double machine. He's going to hit some home runs. His defense is already there at first base. And I think he's one of the best pitchers on this team. So I think that Jacob Mon could be a superstar.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network. These are all our 2023 summer and also full season predictions. Be sure to get us on Instagram and give us your predictions or tell us which ones you think we got wrong, which you think we got right. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network. Next week, it is our last BBN episode before the start of the season. We're going to be going over opening weekend storylines and the biggest things to watch for the first weekend of Bears baseball. But I couldn't be more excited. That's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network. I'm going to talk to you all